Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar today, where we are going to talk about short sales and marketing and developing a niche, whether it's short sales or something else that can help you just launch your real estate career for the end of 2013 and I hope throughout 2014. What I'd like to do is just to confirm that everyone can hear me. So please let me know with the question area that you can hear me okay, that you can see my entire screen. Right now, all I have on my screen is the Short Sale Expediter website. And also, this is being recorded. So for those of you that are listening and recording at a later date, please keep in mind that some of the information might be very integral to the date that we are recording. So if you're listening to this 2 months down the road, it may not be as timely. Thanks, guys. Sharon, Norma, Mary, for telling me that you can hear me and you can see everything okay. So before we get started, I just wanted, for those of you that have never been to the shortsaleexpediter.com website, I may refer to a few places on the site during the webinar itself. So I wanted you to see the site and take down at least the domain name so that if you need it. Hi, Donna. Congratulations to the Red Sox. I'm so excited that they won the World Series. So anyway, so here we have the site, and I wanted to just show you a few things. If you are a short sale person and you are going to be making short sales part of your niche for 2014, please remember the site, because right here there's a search bar and there are like about 600 to 800 articles about stuff going on with short sales and how to help you solve short sale related problems or distressed property problems. So if you're tearing your hair out in the middle of the night, for example, because you can't figure out how to get in touch with the CEO's office of Bank of America or something like that, you can use the search tool right here to type in a keyword or phrase, and it will pop up a whole bunch of articles that might be able to help you launch or get over your short sale hurdle or struggle. So I just wanted you to know that there's also a free ebook you're welcome to download, and you can subscribe to our newsletter here. We provide distressed property education for free throughout the United States and sometimes beyond. And also we provide short sale processing and administration for agents that don't like to do it themselves. And we also provide in the state of California something called transaction coordinating work, which is preparing Bureau of Real Estate compliant files for closing for buyers, sellers, and agents. So anyway, be familiar with the site, know that it's there, and it has a lot of free information for you that you may want to use, as you work through short sales or distressed property struggles. So let me get to the presentation now and start the slideshow. Let's see. Okay. All right, so you're here because we're going to talk about short sale lead generation techniques and lead generation techniques that we can use, that you can use basically right now to supercharge your business for 2014. And my name is Melissa Zavala. I am a broker in the state of California, and that's my license number for those of you that need to see that. And if you ever need to get in touch with me or with my office, the website I just showed you, shortsaleexpediter.com, but our email address is info@shortsaleexpediter.com. And there's our phone number at the bottom, 760-839-3838. If you're struggling also with something and you want some, advice, you are welcome to email my staff at info@shortsaleexpediter.com. We get 10, 20, 30 questions from agents per day who are saying, I'm doing this, what can I do differently? How can you help me get my package recognized at the bank? I'm having this struggle with Equator, what should I do next? All sorts of stuff. So feel free to email us and we're more than happy to help you with that. So as I said, I'm a broker in the state of California. I'm not an attorney or an accountant. And if anyone is facing any situations that I described today where they should really seek the advice of an attorney or an accountant. What I'm trying to do is provide you with some information for educational purposes only. So please keep that in mind as you move forward. It's really interesting because the state of California has all of these documents. We have short sale addendum, short sale information, and advisory that basically say, seek the advice of an attorney accountant. It's almost like a huge poster. So I don't know if other states have that as well, but it's important to remember that, we shouldn't give advice outside of our area of expertise. So today we're going to talk about discovering and developing a niche. And then I'm going to talk about my niche that I've been working for a while, which is distressed properties and short sales, and some tools that I found to be exceedingly effective in lead generation with regard to distressed properties. But what's really cool is that they also work for lots of other niche markets. So you can really apply it if you're in a state that is transitioning away from the distressed property market. There's lots of tips and tools here that I think you could apply to whatever you've decided to work on. So what is your niche? I don't even have short sales on this sign, but 3 niches that are kind of unique. Of course, a niche is like a little, space. It's like that space in the couch where sometimes if you're lucky and you pull up the cushion, you find little surprises, hopefully not pieces of crackers, but you might find money. So if you can find a little space in your real estate market where all of the other agents are not working or marketing, just like the space where you found those nickels and dimes in your couch, you can really develop quite a successful real estate business. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So a couple of niches that I've been exploring with some of the agents that work in my office, because I am a broker, is the 1031 exchange, the like-kind exchange. But because of depreciation, and the fact that homes can only be depreciated for tax purposes for so many years, if you can identify sellers in your community or in your neighborhood that are renting out a home. It's a non-owner occupied property, and they've had it for maybe 20 years. They may need to start thinking about taking that, selling it, and buying another one so they can maximize their deductions for tax purposes. Again, that would be something that they should explore with a CPA or an accountant. But that's a great niche to market to, because there are probably going to be sellers, and then they're going to be cash buyers. So there you have this great niche. And in my area in San Diego County, I don't see a lot of people marketing to that. And you can work with your title representatives or other people to identify homes that have been owned by the same owner that are non-owner occupied for a certain period of time that you designate. And then in California, that you can get labels and you can get your Excel spreadsheet, and then you can start your marketing campaign in that way. Another niche is reverse mortgage. So that's another one that you could explore. Even reverse mortgage short sale. The unique thing, for example, about a reverse mortgage short sale is that a relative can actually purchase a home in reverse mortgage short sale. So that's since generally relatives cannot purchase homes in short sale, this is a unique niche. So you can locate people with reverse mortgages that may need to sell, that are upside down, and work with them. And of course, a very common niche is the neighborhood farm. If you can become the local neighborhood expert, that might be the crackers in the couch or the money in the couch for you. Also technology. There's an agent that I know up in the inland Riverside County area, and he's the bald guy with the red tie. In fact, if you go on Facebook and you look up bald guy with the red tie, you'll see he always wears the same thing. He markets his look. That's his niche. I ran into him for the first time. I'd already seen him on Facebook, and I recognized him right. And I said, I don't remember his name, but I remembered he calls himself bald guy with the red tie. So there's ways that you can market yourself, and also ways that you can market to others that can develop and enrich your career. So the one we're going to talk about, and the one that has worked quite well for me, and I'm going to continue to tap into through 2014, is the short sale market, because I found that it can be a real gold mine. The reason that I really identified it as a gold mine is because the traditional seller stalls and objections, it's just an easy listing appointment. The traditional seller stalls and objections that you might experience in a listing appointment are completely absent when a person is underwater or owes more on their home than the amount of their loan. So, like in a traditional market, let's just say 2003, if I went to a listing appointment, one of the things that we would definitely be discussing is how much equity the seller would be netting after they paid off their mortgage in the sale of their home. And that was extremely important to them because that money was going to be used for retirement, maybe for kids' college education, to buy another home, whatever it was. The equity was extremely important. But in a short sale, since there's no equity, they're not going to walk away with anything except possibly some moving assistance money. That conversation is absent from the listing appointment. So that makes it, for me, an easier listing to take. The a second thing that's off the table in the short sale listing appointment is commission. For the very same reason that sales price was not on the table, commission's not on the table. It is not the seller that's paying the commission. The commission is coming from the sale proceeds, and the bank is ratifying that or authorizing that. And the good news is for us that right now, most of the lending institutions are paying a full 6% commission to be split 50-50 between the buying and the selling side. So that makes it, a very good listing to take, and you don't have to have that difficult conversation where you need to explain why you feel that the commission should be at whatever, your 6% or 5%, because there's always going to be some agency that's going to want to go in there and offer a little bit less. So that takes that off the table. And I also, there are still about 19 million borrowers nationwide, which is about 27% of the homeowners that have mortgages that are underwater or just kind of treading water on their mortgage. So depending on what happens with interest rates and with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and all these other things, they could be that a percentage of those that are just treading water could be underwater again. So I think it's 10.2 million are 125% or more underwater on their mortgage, and another 8 million or so are treading water. So if there are 75 million homeowners with mortgages across the nation, there's still a lot of people that need your help today. And while I would love to see short sales in my past, and I love trying new things, and I'm ready to move on, I need to say that in the last 3 days, I heard about 2 people who've lost their job. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what happens in 2014, but I'm not going to quit my day job with short sales quite yet, because I do feel that there's still an opportunity to reap some benefits here, particularly as other agents move on to other things. So I think you can still get a lot of these listings in your area. And if you can leverage your time, and then you can really maximize your market position. So if you are working with a team or with an associate in such a way that you're not always on the phone doing the paperwork, and you can be out in the field taking more listings, you can really maximize your current market position. It doesn't matter in the field what people see, they see your sign. So it doesn't matter that behind the scenes you are freaking out because you're having so much drama on the short sale, because all people do is they drive by that sign. And the longer it's there, it doesn't necessarily reflect anything bad. It's just going to get cemented into the people that drive by, into their head. So it maximizes your current market position, and it also fuels your real estate career for many, many years to come. So what I can tell you is that someone that needs to sell their home in the short sale may be someone that's completely anxious because they're facing a foreclosure date right around the corner. They will remember that you helped them out of a jam. And that will really fuel your real estate career. And you should, if you maximize it properly, you should be able to get lifelong referrals from that. So the other thing I wanted to mention before we go on to the next slide and talk specifically about some marketing activities is that I have found that in certain communities and areas, once you get one short sale listing, it's easier to get the second one. Because once a neighbor says they list with you, they see the sign, they say, I was so embarrassed. I wasn't feeling good about it. I didn't know what I should do, but I'm also going to list with Susie or Mary or whoever. And as a short sale processing company, I can tell you that we receive a lot of transactions where we get multiple ones in the same community or even a few on the same street. So we have a lot of agents that have 2 or 3 here, of which 2 of them are on the same street. So to me, they like breed, short sale listings breed more short sale listings. So that's a good way to think about it. Excuse me. So that's why I really like the short sale transaction. And I'm going to give you some tips and pointers about how to generate some leads, not only with short sales, but in whatever niche that you're going to be working with in the coming year. Excuse me for a second. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is how to market to borrowers or distressed borrowers, but really how to market to anyone to get seller leads. And the thing that you definitely want to do is make an emotional connection. And we're going to talk about that in a second. And you also want to do what I would call 2-step marketing. And then I'm going to talk all about having an informational website available. I'm going to provide a top secret tip, which is not so secret. I say that kind of tongue in cheek. We're going to talk a little bit about direct mail and community outreach and the telephone, which is not quite the way it used to be. There was a lot of phone calls a long time ago. Now it's not so easy to do that cold calling. And then we're going to talk about tracking results and the best ways to track your results and your successes. So Zig Ziglar said, people buy with emotion and justify with logic. And when you want to help an underwater borrower, or when you are doing your marketing, you need to connect on an emotional level. That's the same reason that people are having great success with Facebook, because the people that are more social on Facebook, it's easier to relate to them because you know more about them. When you run into people, you already know different things going on in their life, and you've made that emotional connection with them. So people always, they select their agent with emotion, and then they justify it with logic. I'm going to give you just one example. My husband, who is a real estate salesperson, he has a client who has some sort of auto auction membership. I don't know a lot about this, but apparently you can go with this pass and you get to go to these auto auctions and you get some real deals. And so this guy, they went, my husband and him, to the auto auction, and they picked up some salvage motorcycle. Maybe it was like, I don't know, $400 to $600. It was a couple years ago already. And of course, when I get wind of this, I am not particularly happy. And, I'm thinking, what did you do that for? First of all, what do we need a motorcycle for, particularly one that doesn't work? And his response was, well, it only cost $500. I can't remember, $400 or $600. And when I fix it, I can sell it for $2,000. So here is a perfect example of somebody buying with emotion and attempting to justify with logic. So when you are marketing to anyone that you want to market to, I'm going to talk about the distressed property. I'm going to give some distressed property examples in a minute, but anyone that you are marketing to, you want to be able to connect with them at an emotional level. They want to know, what's in it for me? Okay, so in the distressed property world, why should they hire you? Why should they list as a short sale? What's in it for them? What is the benefit for them? Now, in the 1031 exchange example that I gave, what's in it for that person? Well, they get, if they sell and then they buy again, they have, additional tax benefits that they didn't have before. So that's what's in it for them. Okay, so benefits versus features. When you do your marketing, the what's in it for me being the seller or the buyer, that's the benefit. So when you market, you always market what's in it for them. So versus features. And I'll talk about what features are in a minute. So here's some benefits with regard to short sales. Harassing phone calls will stop. So if anyone's ever missed a payment, even by a few days, they call about 8 times a day. So harassing phone calls will stop. You may protect your credit. And I can talk about that at the end if someone reminds me. Return to normalcy. So if you're always wondering when the sheriff's going to be at your door or when there's going to be a foreclosure filing, to get that off your plate, that kind of mental anxiety is really beneficial. What's in it for them? The financial incentive. The HAFA program still pays $3,000 to owner occupiers or tenants. So there's a real financial incentive to listing your home as a short sale, relieving the uncertainty. And then I also have a short sale versus foreclosure chart on the website that I showed you, which does talk about the benefits of short sale versus foreclosure. So you're welcome to go download that. Remember to use the search bar on the side that I pointed out to you at the beginning of the webinar. So your amazing negotiation skills or your real estate skills or the fact that you have an MBA from Harvard or MIT or Wharton, that's a feature. And that's not something that in your first drop or your first marketing, you're going to want to focus on. The first thing is to get them in the door, to convince them of the benefits to them of doing something. And then you can tell them why. And then once they've decided, yes, I'm going to list for short sale because I know I'm going to get $3,000 through the HAFA program. Then, but why should I select you? Well, so then I could say, well, my features are I've done over 2,000 short sales. I'm familiar with the banks, all these kinds of things. But you don't want to lead with features. You want to lead with benefits. So you can get your benefits out there through a two-step marketing program. So generate a lead by providing something of value, provide the information, and follow up. And I am going to cycle back again to the 1031 exchange example a few times because I think there are some good two-step marketing ideas that go along with 1031 exchange. But the key is whatever niche you use or you're working on, you're going to have to develop a two-step marketing plan because you want to get people in the door and then you want to follow up with them. People like free stuff. I went to the realtor marketing session the other day. People love free breakfast. So they show up there for the free breakfast. So people love free stuff. And so offering something for free, something of value, maybe not a breakfast necessarily. I'll talk about some other things you can offer for free. And then you provide it, you do what you say you're going to do, and then you follow up with them. So here are some little ideas for white papers or ebooks that you can create on your own, or you are more than welcome to go on the Short Sale Expediter website, see if you find any of this information in an article, you can just cut and paste it into your own and call it your own information and offer that as something of value. So people want to know what they need to do if their loan modification is declined. And right now there's a 27% default rate on the Home Affordable Modification Program loan modifications. So not only are people still processing these loan modifications and getting declined, but then more than a quarter of the people that receive those loan modifications are in default again, have missed 3 payments. So knowing that, maybe you could write a little article about what people should do if their loan modification is declined. Of course, the huge thing is they need to contact a realtor right away and learn their options. They need to learn that short sale is an option, deed in lieu of foreclosure is an option, foreclosure is an option, possibly bankruptcy is an option, maybe forbearance is an option. But generally, the big options are short sale and foreclosure. But you can do like a little 1 or 2 page document, save it as a PDF, and there they have this free report. That's the thing of value. And then you can follow up. And we'll talk about how to get that out on the internet in just a few minutes. By the way, Microsoft Word, Apple Pages, a lot of these, you can use any of their templates, which are already really beautifully formatted. Add your logo, add your name, add the text, and save it. And they do look really, really nice and professional. What not to do if you fall behind on your mortgage payments. So for me, the huge thing not to do when you fall behind on your mortgage payments is ignore the mail. Okay, the mail is a scary place, and people that are behind on their mortgage payments do not want to go to the mailbox, and they do not want to open the envelopes. But I need to tell you right now so that you can convey this information that the mail is also a great place if you are upside down or if you have defaulted or have missed some payments. I have seen lots and lots of letters come from the banks, the lenders, offering big bucks to people that list their home for short sale. I have personally negotiated, up to 40, my clients have received up to $40,000 at closing for participating in a short sale. So I know that someone is stressed about losing their house, but had they not opened that envelope, they might not know that they have the opportunity to list their house and receive a check for $25,000, which would be such a wonderful way for that individual to get back on his or her feet again and normalize and relieve the uncertainty and all of those things we talked about. So good things do come in the mail. The other thing that I've seen come in the mail, a great reason to open the mail, is debt forgiveness by the second lien holder. So I've seen lien holders send letters saying they're forgiving the entire balance of the second mortgage. So with that gone off the books, maybe it's not a short sale anymore. Maybe if the person really needs to sell their house now, it's a traditional sale. So you can write a whole white paper or ebook about opening the mail and why good things come in the mail and things like that. You can provide some tips on how to avoid foreclosure. So you can include some of the options that I mentioned in the what to do if your loan mod is declined, and then the benefits of short sale versus foreclosure. So these are all different reports that you can create. They can be 1-pagers or 2-pagers so that they're available. That's the free thing of value that you can offer in order to get people in the door, in order to capture the lead. So you need to educate and then you need to follow up. And I call that the rule of 11. And the reason I call that the rule of 11, and I don't think I got that from anywhere else. Several years ago, when my eldest was very young, I was watching 48 Hours or Dateline or one of those shows, and they were talking about how to encourage children to eat a healthy diet. And they said that it takes you have to present the food 11 days in a row. So if it's Brussels sprouts or broccoli or spinach or whatever, they have to see it 11 times in a row before you can expect it to go in the mouth. All right. So I would assume that the same 11 principle should apply in real estate, meaning if you can create a marketing program where you create at least 11 touches, then you'll have a much larger likelihood of converting this prospect into a viable client. So we talked about the reports that you can generate, and where are you going to give these out and how are you going to give them out? Well, so you're never going to give them out unless you get something in return. And what you want is an email address. It would be great if you had a cell phone number. It would be great if you had a property address. It would be wonderful if you had the real first and last name. But if you can get an email, then you're golden, because you can add someone to a trickle or email campaign. You can create autoresponders. So once they're in, you don't have to worry about them, and they might convert on their own with very little work on your part. But if you have also all that other information, then you can do more customized marketing. So how are you going to get that? Well, you can create a landing page. You can use something called WooFoo, which is WUFOO.com. WUFOO.com. That's it's free online service where you can create a sign-in block. So for those of you that don't have maybe a MailChimp account or Constant Contact or Aweber, you can use WooFoo. They sign up, and that's how you would know that they put in their information, and then they receive the PDF. So you can create some sort of landing page that provides the information, and when a little bit of information about your services, and then offers this free report or the free ebook, and that's how you're going to capture. Now, what I want to talk about is if you plan to do something like this, I want to give you a few pointers. I'm sure your website is beautiful, and I'm sure it looks great, but if you ever look at a realtor website, including my own, they have so much information. You get onto the homepage, I have blog articles, you can sign in, you can log in to look at properties. On the right in the sidebar, you can use a mortgage calculator, you can also search for homes in the sidebar through IDX, all of that stuff. But when you are targeting for something, whether it's that 1031 exchange seller and who's a seller buyer, or whether it's a short sale listing, You want to be certain that they're going to be reading your page, not looking at your blog articles, your stuff on the sidebar. And what happens is the web homepages or the websites generally have way too much information, and so it can be distracting. So you're going to want to create a single page which has much more focused information. So if you can do it on your website, that's great, but maybe do it as a back end page that doesn't have all that extraneous information. So it needs to speak directly to the person that you're targeting. So if it's the 1031 exchange, you're going to talk about that. If it's another niche that you selected, you'll talk about that, reverse mortgages, whatever it is. And then you're going to talk specifically, you're going to say, what's in it for them? What are the benefits of doing this? You're going to provide some answers, and you're going to capture their contact information. But if you create a bar or a landing thing on Wufoo that says you have to write in your name, you have to write in your address, you have to write in your work phone number and your cell phone number, and then you have to write in your email, a lot of people may just navigate away. So you have to make a calculated decision as to how much information, personal information, you are going to request. Obviously, if a person fills all that out and it's accurate, then you scored big time. But if in the same time 30 people navigated away and 10 of them would have left their email, then you lost out. So you're going to have to make, as I said, some sort of calculated decision. But the whole point is to create a landing page so you can get some information. Minimal content. If you give away all your secrets right there, there's going to be no reason for them to call you. So keep that in mind. So I say it's a secret. Obviously, the principle of repetition, I've already talked to you about that. Constant and continuous exposure to the material will lead to conversion and success. You're going to need to do some cyclical marketing here. So on your blog or on your wherever you are, link back to your landing page. In your direct mail, you're going to also suggest your landing page and your blog. So people are in a circle where they're always going everywhere, and wherever they land, they're seeing those other things and it's suggested that they go to those other places. Postcards are great. So they're great since it's going to be fairly easy to do with 1031 exchanges, with reverse mortgages, with neighborhood farms, and with distressed properties. It's going to be easy to obtain data to send direct mail postcards. So the reason that a postcard is good is because it's fairly affordable still. If you look into Every Door Direct, for example, I think those are like 17 cents for a jumbo postcard. So check that out. But even if you're going with doing your own thing, they're still going to be much more affordable than an envelope with a letter in it. They're low cost. They stare you in the face. For me, I stand over my trash can when I read the mail. So I'm throwing things away. So if it looks like it's direct mail and it's in an envelope, I'm not even opening it. But of course, I'm always looking at that. So if I see an interesting postcard from another real estate agent that's well done, I put it to the side so we can discuss it at the office. So it's staring me in the face. And since it's staring at me in the face, it needs to have enough information that I know what it's about, but not so much that I can't read it. Because if you have a lot of crazy fonts on there, a lot of small text, and you have to kind of pull it close to your eyes, especially as you're getting older. If you use reading glasses like I do, if I can't see it and I have to think about it and pull it and put on my glasses, then I'm probably going to be less interested. So I try and keep my postcards real low amount of text. How can you solve the problem? What's in it for me? So an example of that is learn about how you can receive up to $3,000 when you sell your home in a short sale. Call me. That's like not a lot of text, so it should be easy on the eyes. Put in some beautiful visuals, and you've got something that's a benefit to them, and they might call you. In addition, you can say, well, call me or download my free report at www whatever. So there you go. And they can pique interest in that way. Another option for direct mail, which is more expensive, is of course the envelope. And it depends what you're sending and how you're sending it. I had success sending an envelope. While it's recommended that you handwrite the the address, and that you don't put your business return address in the return address section, because people will know for sure that it was sent. It could be direct mail soliciting something. I had a lot of success actually fairly recently. I had a friend who has a son who wanted to buy a condo in a specific condo complex in La Jolla. He told me the complex. I looked, there was nothing on the market there. However, and he wanted a deal. However, there were about 40 of the 130 condos where the people were upside down on their mortgage. So I said, I'm just going to write a letter on corporate company letterhead, put it in a company envelope, but we hand addressed the envelopes. And I sent it to each homeowner in the complex saying, I have a buyer, it's true, cash buyer, interested in purchasing a condo in this complex. He wants to be near his brother, which is why he's identified this complex. He's very well, he's cash buyer and he's ready to go. Okay, so we sent 130 of those. I think I got 13 calls. He bought one and I got 4 listings, of which 3 were short sale. So that was a real light touch in an envelope and it worked. Now, it depends what you're going to put in your envelope and what it's going to say and how it's going to pique their interest. I can't say that I've had that success on every envelope I've sent out. I wish that I had. So handwrite the envelope. That's a suggestion. A lot of people say experiment with color. I didn't do that, but people say if you put it in kind of an invitation style envelope, or if you used a colored envelope, or even if you put it in a different shape. Some people put a penny in it or a mint or something, because when there's something inside, people want to open it and see what's inside. So consider those kinds of things as you prepare what you're going to send out. If you want to offer the free report, I wouldn't send it unless I got something in return. So offer the free report and send them to the website, but don't send the free report included. Yellow letter, which is the third bullet on this list, is was very popular. Still see a few of them, and it looks like people write them by hand, but they don't really. They use a font which looks like your personal handwriting. And if you're ever interested in creating one of those, you can go to fontifier.com in order to do that. But anyway, they use yellow legal pad in order to write. They print on yellow legal pad using the Fontifier program, and it looks like you wrote it yourself. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, so if you're writing an envelope, you might want to consider some of those things in order to get your message heard. Another way to get your message heard is through door knocking. So you've got to have real talent to do this, or a real interest, and you can't be shy. It's not going to work for me. I'm a hermit. I sit in my office and I talk to you who I can't even see through a screen and a microphone, right? But there are people that are very, very engaging, that can sell a heart attack. They can sell anyone they know a vacuum cleaner, anything they can sell. They can respond quickly. And so they like to get face to face with people. So if you're one of those people, you can do all sorts of research. And again, this is where you might want to get the support of local title folks if you don't have access to this data, to find out, who's upside down, who's already defaulted on their mortgage. And you can go out to those neighborhoods and do some community outreach. I love, and this is the bottom thing here, the MHA storefront brochures. MHA stands for Making Home Affordable, and it's mhastorefront.com. Again, you can see that at the bottom, MHA storefront and then .com. This is the Making Home Affordable program, and they will offer you realtors free brochures. They're in all different languages, and they are thick, and they have multiple pages, and they've got, I think, 3 or 4 different choices, what to do when you miss mortgage payments, different tips about how to resolve financial situations related to the Making Home Affordable program. When you have those in your car and you share those with people who are upside down on their mortgage, when you are out and about, you cement yourself, I guess that's the best word. You cement yourself as someone who is trustworthy, legitimate, and knows their game. And that's what you want to do. If you're knocking on someone's door and they don't know you, they need some sort of assurance that you're not some like creepy, stereotype of what a salesman is going to be. And those MHA storefront brochures, which are absolutely free, will help you to get over some of those barriers. And so you could just go on the website, you create an account, but you don't, and it's almost like you're shopping. It's a shopping cart, and you add stuff to the shopping cart. They even have posters if you want them for your office. And then they come, and like a week to 10 days later, you get this huge box at your office with all this stuff. Again, absolutely free. So I love those. I've got tons of them at the office. We use them all the time. When you are talking to people, you definitely want to avoid using the word foreclosure. You can, if people want, if you want to go direct and say, I know you have a notice of default on your property, people are probably going to be like, wait a minute, you're coming to my door and talking to me like this. They might not like that. So you might want to introduce yourself, and you might want to say that you provide ethical and compassionate solutions when dealing with real estate loans. Or you could just say, I listed your friend's home down the street. It's a short sale. We're having an open house on Saturday. Let me give you some information about short sales. Come by on Saturday. I'd love to talk to you. I'm having cookies and ice cream, and your neighbors want to know if you know anyone that's interested in buying this home. So they'd love for you to have a look. That's totally non-invasive. They're not going to feel like you're saying, I know your house is going to sale in 3 days. Although those people need your help a lot too. So we've got all sorts of sample scripts that we can provide to you if you're interested in community outreach or door knocking. And if you email us at info@shortsaleexpediter.com, we'd be happy to share those with you. Okay, telephone. Telephone's an interesting thing because I don't know, like 1990s, you used it all the time to call people to see if they wanted to list their house, if their listing had expired, for sale by owners. But now there's this thing called the do not call list, and half people don't even have landlines anymore. So now really the telephone has evolved into something that we use for follow-up. So keeping that in mind, the way that right now is really a great way to use the telephone is if you have some sort of distressed borrower hotline or some hotline. So some of these companies like Automatic Response, or I think the other one is Telcel that I know of, what you can do is you can buy a program where you get a toll-free number. And then if you're using like Every Door Direct and you say, call to listen to a report on 10 things you need to know about how to get $3,000 when selling your home in short sale. So they call that number and you've already recorded a message on there, and you basically read your report out loud. And what happens is if they call, you get the data. So you get their phone number, you get their property address. So then you can work on converting them. Of course, you don't get their email, but that's neat. And the other thing that's offered through this same system is the calling out feature. So, around election day, and I know there's been a lot of scandals and stuff in the news about this, but around election day, how Hillary Clinton calls you personally on the phone to remind you to go out and vote and things like that. You can do that too. So if you have your circle of influence, your 200, nearest neighbors or people that that you used your referral network, you can, if your referral network is too big for you to make those personal calls, you can actually do a recorded call and then program it to go out at a specific time of the day. Now, what happens is you can even program it not to go out if people answer. So, for example, you can say you only want it to go to voicemails. And then it would say, just wanted to wish you happy holidays. I'm having an open house this Saturday at this address, whatever it is. But of course, you want it to be as natural as possible. The best use that I have ever seen of the distressed borrower hotline in the calling out feature, which I think is called the Client Connection Wizard, was when an agent, as you know, in San Diego County, we have issues with wildfires. And several years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, it was very, very bad. And I mean, we agents couldn't even go to the office. I mean, the air was thick. Who would want to buy a house when it's raining ashes? So he's at home and he's like, what can I do? He's how much news can you watch about the fires? You're beginning to freak out. You're packing your bags. You're trying to figure out if you're going to be evacuated. He decides to do a client connection call to all of his clients, because the other thing he was doing was checking online, because there were lists on the news of whose home had burned down, to see if any of his past clients had their homes burned down, because he was so, worried, and he wanted to be able to call them and help them out in any way. So he decides to do a call saying, make sure, I hope you're safe. I hope your family's safe. If there's anything I can do, please, please let me know. Things like that. He converted, I think it went out to 200. I think 15 people called him back personally to say thanks for calling. So, and he was able to convert that into a few purchases and sales. So, you've got to be creative in order to get your message heard, to get people to respond to you. And I thought that was very heartfelt what he did, but also turned out to be have a positive benefit financially to him as well. And I don't think when he did it, he thought he hadn't thought about the conversion. He just was like going crazy at home. So tracking your success is really important. We're at the end of the year now almost. So it's a great time to just write down your closings on a piece of paper and say, where did this one come from? Where did this one come from? Where did this one come from? Of course, if you have 40 or 50, isn't that awesome? Then you might need to use a computer and do some deeper analysis. But if you're if you have less than that, it's probably going to be a little bit easier for you to just figure out on a list and say, well, I must be most successful at my referral network, since 5 of my 12 transactions came from my referral network or whatever. And so wherever you seem to have the bulk of them coming, that's where you want to spend a lot of money next year. That's where you want to spend a lot of time next year. And so keep that in mind. I, for example, get a lot of leads from an attorney friend of mine. So I think I need to make friends with more attorneys, but also, obviously I need to keep him happy, keep him on my best buddies list, and do anything I can to stay in his face, I guess, in a kind of impolite way to say that, so that he doesn't forget about me and how much I appreciate his leads. So distressed homeowners are divided into two groups: people that you know and people that you don't know. All of your leads, 1031 exchange and neighborhood farm and reverse mortgage, are going to be people that you know and people that you don't know. All of your leads. So you need to divide your time to market to both people that you know and people that you don't know. So we're going to talk about the people that you know. Obviously, it's easy to get in and to remind them that you're still in the business through Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. You can ask them to do online reviews. You can send them email newsletters. You can send them postcards. You can do recorded messages. You can send them an email drip campaign. Your favorite people, my lawyer, for example, I need to be inviting him to lunch, talking to him on the phone, letting him know that I haven't forgotten about him. I talked to him on the phone yesterday. So those are the kinds of things that you need to do to be top of mind with the people that you know. So what you can do, you have to discipline yourself though sometimes, especially if you know a lot of people. So what I do, as I've already alluded to the fact, I'm not super duper social, but I do try and go onto Facebook and make comments and connect with some of my old friends, which I'm not very good at. So it's an effort for me, but it's not a difficult thing to spend 5 or 10 minutes on Facebook connecting with your friends and colleagues, for a few minutes when you're in front of the TV at night or something like that. People that you don't know, that's a whole other story, and you should be marketing to them as well. So people that you don't know in the distressed property world, those are going to be notices of default. So anyone that's in the foreclosure process, anyone that's missed their payment once or twice on their mortgage, and I'm sorry that's his website sidebar. It's not there anymore. You'll have to email me if you want more information about this at info@shortselexpediter.com. But what that is, basically, is statistics show that if someone is 30 to 60 days late on their mortgage, they're not going to be on time again. I don't remember what the percentage is, but it's a very, very high percentage. So you can purchase, not through me, but I can give you the names of some companies that I know sell the leads. I can't advocate whether they're good or bad, but the deal is that they can do what's called a soft credit report, and they can identify people that have missed 2 months of payments and provide you with a list. And then you could use Every Door Direct to do direct mail, or you can do an envelope or something to those people. People that you don't know that need your help today, if they're upside down on their mortgage, if they're over 100% loan to value. And remember, I told you that over 10 million people in the United States right now are over 125% loan to value on their mortgage. So you can probably identify neighborhoods such as homes constructed between 2000 and 2005, where a lot of people may be upside down. Remember, if they bought their house in 2003, then they put in the pool, the granite countertops, all of the upgrades, they may be upside down on their mortgage. Neighborhoods that have had a high foreclosure rate, neighborhoods that have had lots of short sales and notices of default, those are the places where you might want to do some marketing. And of course, if you can identify people with failed loan modification, we've already discussed the default rate is high on those HAMP modifications. If you can develop some sort of marketing campaign that pulls those leads, those are good leads. Another group that's not on here is the HARP 2.0, Home Affordable Refinance Program 2.0. Those are anyone that's interested in refinancing at today's rates with a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage. That's a great program. But what happens is a lot of people are interested in that program, but they don't qualify because their loan is not with Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. And they don't know that when they hear about the program on the news. So if you can partner up with a lender friend and work on that together and send out some postcards and things, all the people that want to refinance and then they learn that they don't have a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage, you might be able to convert them into some sort of sale, particularly a short sale, because they're going to be upside down on their home. So something to think about. So where do you get all this data from? Because I'm talking about data. Well, first of all, I told you, and that's at the bottom, contact me and I can give you a couple of sources where you purchase the data for the 30 to 60 day lates. But you can get data and download it from foreclosureradar.com, from realtytrack.com. You can get data from your local MLS. That's the public records and tax rolls. I've already mentioned 3 or 4 times title companies. All of the title companies that come around my office, I can get logins to all of their websites to download all sorts of data. I can ask them to run reports that through their customer service department and get Excel spreadsheets with any data I want, which then I can export, create labels, do all sorts of marketing. So that's where you can get the data. Remember, Foreclosure Radar and Realty Track, and even another one called Rebo Gateway. Those are all subscription programs. So if you want to do the free trial, do it when you have some time, when you're actually going to use the free trial, because can't remember how much they are, but $20 to $40 a month. So definitely you're going to want to check them out first and make sure it's something that you're going to like using. But once you have all the leads, if you're taking a short sale listing, then I hope we will contact us so that we can support you at Short Sale Expediter with your short sale listing. And I hope that you will join us for some of our upcoming events and workshops and things like that. Feel free to email us anytime at info@shortsaleexpediter.com if you have any questions about short sales. Now, with regard to other niche marketing, you definitely, obviously, you can see how a lot of the things that we discussed today can work in a lot of different markets. But the key is whatever you're doing, whatever your niche market is, obviously mine has been short sales, you have to be extremely disciplined. You have to create a marketing calendar and you have to stick to it. And I think that that's generally difficult because once we get busy working with buyers and sellers, then we sometimes ignore what's on our calendar. I'm going to tell you, for me personally, Friday's my day. I have a task list on Friday of marketing and prospecting activities. And if I don't get those done, I'm doing them Friday night. I'm doing them Saturday morning. My husband's saying, "What are you doing?" And I'm saying, "I'm working." Because I'm disciplined and I know that if I don't do this, if I let go once, it's like the diet. Once you eat a whole apple pie, you're off that diet. So you've got to have that self-control to do it over and over and over. And once you can repeat your, be consistent in what you do, whether it's short sales or something else, I know that 2014 will bring you tons of success in real estate. So thanks to all of you who are on the line today. There are quite a few. I do see a couple of questions, and of course, if anyone else has any questions, now is the time to write them in and I'll answer them. For those of you that are done, or for those of you that called in or listening to the recording, just thank you so much for joining us. And if we can ever be of any help to you, please do not hesitate to contact our office. Okay, the first question is, what was the name of the list program? Okay, the list, I think you're talking about WooFoo. Again, that's WUFOO.com. And that's where you can create the sign-in to send people things. I guess that's what you're talking about, but you said the list program. So you might want to clarify that for me. But the other thing I can talk about while I'm waiting to see what you have to say about that is MailChimp, Aweber, Constant Contact. Help me out, anybody that knows some other companies. I Constant Contact or iContact, My Emma. These are all companies that you can create email campaigns on. Of course, a lot of the programs that you might have already, such as Diverse Solutions or some of your other customer relationship management programs, may have a back end with email marketing already. I personally use MailChimp, so I have my email campaigns in MailChimp. So when somebody signs up for something online, my newsletter, they're added to my list for my newsletter. And then MailChimp, I do those newsletters and they go out on Tuesdays through MailChimp. So you can create this thing called autoresponders. You create them in advance. So let's just say you go on the Short Sale Expediter website and you download the ebook. So if you go, let's just say I had an ebook where I was offering what to do if your loan mod gets declined. So they go and they download my ebook off of my website. They're now on my ebook download list. So what to do when your loan mod is declined. And every 2 or 3 days, I'm going to create these autoresponders. Create them once. They're applied to all the people that sign up for the ebook. And one goes out 2 days after the person got the ebook, 4 days after the person got the ebook. And it's all done automatically. This is automatic and automated marketing. So once they sign up, they're spit into the system, or they're funneled into the system where you're constantly connecting with them. So that's a really great way to get your message out while not having you have to be so mindful of the calendar. Okay, the toll free. So another question Vanessa asks, you mentioned the toll free number as well. What is the name of the company that you use? The one I've used before is Automatic Response. I think that Ben Kinney from IMSD, if anybody knows who that is, I think he uses Telcel. That's the one that he recommends, I'm pretty sure. But I've used Automatic Response, and they're out of Southern California. So you can go on their website and check them out. And again, there's 2 components to that. There's the toll-free number, so people call in and they listen to your recorded stuff. And even you can even make sign riders for your listings that say, to hear the 24-hour, to learn about this house, call this number 24/7. And then they call and you're capturing who they are. And then you tell them the price on there. But now you know if you don't put the price on the flyer that you put at the door, then they call the number and you can capture them that way. You can use that in the other way. But the second portion of the toll-free thing is the client connection, the Hillary Clinton part, the part where the gentleman I told you about sent the message about, be careful because of the wildfires. So that's what that is. And then, okay, the last question I have here is it's Every Door Direct. So just Google Every Door Direct, and that's the most affordable way to get your postcards out into people's mailboxes. And it's neat. You don't even need a list from the title company. You can overlay a map, and it will just get those postcards out for you. So it's a pretty cool way to get your stuff out there. Let me just scroll down. I think that's the last question right now. Again, then, I guess I'm going to say goodbye since we've been on for about an hour. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And if you can think of a way that we can provide you with excellent service and with your real estate career, I hope you will keep us in mind. And just have a great day. Have a great weekend. It's like 80 degrees here in San Diego. It's a little warm for me for November, but very excited to get out there and work on my short sales and transaction coordinating and just generating leads and connecting with agents. So thanks for letting me connect with you today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.